All right, so Tony Mormino, we're still here at the AHR Expo. I'm here at the Marley, SVX Marley booth. We're going to look at cooling towers. We're going to look at, what is this called again?
Our Marley Water Guard.
Marley Water Guard, which is newer. And then we're also going to talk about this basin filter.
Marley Guard Basin filter.
Marley Guard Basin filter. So, Marshall, thank you for having us.
Of course.
Appreciate you having us.
Appreciate the invite.
Since we're standing here next to this display, which looks really cool, tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, so this is our Marley Guard Basin filter, the blue material here. And
this right here.
Yep, it's the filter there, and then there's a structural grid in there. That's the stainless steel. And the purpose of this is to kind of collect any debris that would be in the condenser water, keep it from blocking the nozzles in the cooling tower basin and impacting the performance.
Right, so for those who may not know cooling towers real well, we're talking about the hot water basin.
Correct.
Which is the basin at the top of the tower. So hot water comes back from the condenser of the chiller.
Correct.
That's why we call it the hot water basin.
Yep.
Not really that hot, but it's warmer than the cold water basin, which is the one at the bottom. So this material here, which looks, relatively inexpensive, but probably is very effective at keeping the big stuff out of the...
Yes.
The basin's open on top, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's got open, it's gravity fed, and then there's an array of spray nozzles.
So leaves could get in there.
Correct.
Animals.
A lot of times spring startup, you have metal pipes, you get pipe scale, other things that'll come loose.
Yeah.
And they can be a big headache at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And the basin filter helps to keep the tower operating without being detrimented by those debris.
This is very, very, looks like easy and effective.
And we got some debris here we can place on the nozzles, and they'll continue
so there's actual nozzles. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, they'll continue to operate.
Courtney, you want to try and get a little zoom in on there if you can? Courtney, our camera person. Let's test her skills. Look at that. So those are the hot water nozzles.
It's our map.
At the top of the tower. That disperse the water over the fill, right?
It's all correct.
This is a nice demo here.
Yeah. And the filter, when it comes new, it has some antimicrobial properties as well.
Centralized man of it.
And so over time it can be replaced, cleaned out.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. So hot water basin filter.
Correct.
And we're the biggest problem in towers, in my experience, is keeping the water clean on a micro level as opposed to just the macro level, right? A lot of stuff, dirt, water is a great filter for the air, and towers are great air filters. So the basin is always dirty, so we've got a solution for that too, right?
So what's interesting, come on over here, I'll explain it. So a lot of people ask, is this intended to be a side stream filtration or a treatment system for the tower? And it's actually not.
Okay.
It's actually a pre-treatment skid for water efficiency.
For the makeup water.
For the makeup water.
I see.
Right.
So if you're watching, I totally botched that, but
no, it's a common question.
A lot of water evaporates from towers, which is good because it cools the water. So you need a way to, if you're bringing in makeup water, usually there's a float on the bottom.
Or electronic.
And it goes too low, and then water comes in. You're treating the water coming in from the sea.
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
So in the situation, it's pretty common where the municipal water will have a high calcium or other dissolved solids, hard water. And in the cooling tower, we have limits established for the water quality. We don't want it to get the dissolved solids to get too high to where it's going to start corroding the tower or even other aspects of the system like the chiller. So there's usually something we call blowdown, where we drain a small portion of the water to keep those mineral limits acceptable. What this does is it takes out some of the dissolved solids in the supply water ahead of time before it goes to the cooling tower. And that way we can use the water more efficiently in the cooling tower.
So minimize the blowdown.
Correct. So we take some of the solids out now so that we can run higher cycles and reduce the water blow down from the tower.
The ROI is by reducing the makeup water for the tower.
Correct.
That's the whole
one of
idea?
the, yes. Water savings, blow down savings. And then there's also some lead that helps with the lead water efficiency
Oh, it
credit
does,
as
okay.
well. Yes.
And water in some areas can be very expensive.
Yes.
The towers can consume a lot of water in some areas too.
Yep. That is correct. That is correct. So this is really, has I think, a strong payback in the areas of the country that have water on the harder side. So they'd be maybe operating in the 2.5, 3 cycles of concentration with the normal steady makeup. If that's the case, we can increase them up to about 10 cycles usually.
Got it. Nice. And this has been around for over a year? Is that
We
right?
had it,
I saw it last
over a year. Yeah, we had it last year at the booth, but this year we've got the actual demo unit where it's actually operating and removing the dye, the blue dye from the stream. So we've got the inlet water there from the dye in the blue tank.
This would represent city water?
Yes, with the dissolved solids. And it comes in, it's got a sediment filter, and then the main portion is the membrane. It's a nanofiltration membrane. They're back here. Okay, so it goes through that, and the membranes block those dissolved solids, and then we have a small stream of reject that goes to drain, and that contains all of or a large portion of the solids that are in the water. Right.
Kind of washing them out of it.
Yep. And then the more pure water will go to the tower for the makeup.
Nice. Okay. This comes in one pre-engineered package skid.
We have a range of sizes, pre-engineered from, it's based on the amount of makeup water you need.
Right.
So it goes from 2 GPM at the smaller end, which is a smaller unit than this one, up to 91. So we can get
Nice.
1-to-1 with pretty much any of our factory assembled evaporative equipment. So
Are people often surprised that their makeup water may be this high in concentration of these dissolved solids?
yeah, I mean, it's very regional.
Really?
Right? So certain areas, they're going to be used to it. Other areas are going to have softer water, like New York City, for example. You wouldn't really probably apply this there because the water's already very soft. Limit the payback that you can get when you're starting with softer water.
Here in Florida, I suspect it's probably a good candidate
Yes.
for. We grew up in Florida, so I think hard water is pretty common.
Yes.
Cool. Well, we'd love to get a rundown on the cooling
Cool.
towers. Would you
Sure.
give us a rundown on those too?
Yeah. I'll take you over and talk about our closed circuit fluid coolers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
This is
Where do you want to set up? Over here?
Start it wherever we got it over. Yeah, I'd be able to live
All
there.
right. Well, I really want to talk about the ones on this side because they're more of our newer products.
We can do that. Let's
But,
do it quick. Let's do
yeah.
it quick. Cooling tower type is one again.
Okay. So this side over here is actually all of our closed
Oh, these
circuit.
are all fluid coolers.
all closed circuit fluid coolers.
Okay, so it's for the people watching, fluid cooler versus cooling tower. Okay, so you have
Correct.
fluid that comes in, but it's in a closed loop. Comes in warm, let's say 90 degrees, whatever. Cool it. You put water over it. In the cooling tower, you spray water over that loop, that foil. It comes out cool. It's basically.
Right. The main difference between the open cooling tower and the closed circuit fluid cooler, the fluid cooler is going to keep the fluid that you're cooling, whether it's your condenser water or it's serving heat pumps or whatever, inside a coil.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not in contact with the ambient air. Whereas an open cooling tower, it's actually promoting interface of the air and water
That's right.
that you're cooling. So
Yeah.
these are usually applications with smaller tubes, like heat pumps,
Very
things
common
like that.
water source heat pump application.
Correct. All right.
So we're evaporatively cooling the water that's cooling the coil, or hitting the coil that's cooling the water
Right.
side of the fluid
Right.
side. Hey,
So
you got a couple models?
yeah,
here?
we have a few models. We have our fill coil hybrid over on this end. This is our MH.
This right here?
Yep. So it would have a coil in the bottom, as well as open cooling tower fill media in the top.
Got it.
And so having the fill media gives it an efficiency boost. So it's one of our most popular
Yeah.
for sizing and efficiency. We actually,
So where would the coil be here?
in the bottom,
Okay.
you can kind of see here we have your connections would be
Got it.
right on here. On the opposite side, we have the integral recirculating pump, which is the water loop that's going over the outside that's actually being subject to the evaporation.
Okay. Thanks.
And then we have our LW. It's another fill coil hybrid. So the coils would be at this level.
Okay.
And then also would have cooling tower fill.
So this pump is taking the water from the cold water basin, bringing it up top, spraying it over the internal coil.
Correct. Correct. This is a really popular product for smaller heat rejection tonnages.
Yeah.
It ships fully assembled, factory wired controls, and so it's really easy installation.
Okay.
Our next one is the DT fluid cooler. This is one that's also very common, but it's a little bit different than the first two. Sorry.
You're
Watch
good.
my lights. In that it's a coil-only fluid cooler. And
This
so,
one here?
yes. So there's no fill in here. So the coil surface itself is both the evaporative surface and
Got it.
the indirect heat exchange.
But you're spraying water over
Yep, we still
no fill to
Right.
help cool the water that's
Right.
going forward. Got it. Right.
So as a result, it's a little bit heavier, bigger typically than a fill coil hybrid. But the advantage it would have is some seasonal dry operation capability.
Okay.
So
Right.
in
So you don't have to worry about freezing.
certain climates, yeah, it's very, very common for this to be able to operate dry around freezing.
Got it.
So
Is this one of the newer products you were saying?
This is one of the newer ones. We recently put our AeroX coil technology in it, which helps to improve the heat rejection capability and reduce the air side pressure.
Is that a special fin type?
It's a special tube shape,
Oh, okay.
so it's a streamlined tube shape, makes it more aerodynamic.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. Then we have one more over here.
Yes, one more.
Hey, Courtney, you're doing a great job. Here, why don't you?
Sorry.
No, this is great. This makes for good. It shows you guys are busy because you're
navigating.
the top cooling tower.
Correct. Thank you for that.
So,
So this is a model of our new OlympusV adiabatic cooler. That's something that you probably also saw for the first time last year.
yeah.
This is a new product for us, and really is trying to give a product option on the end of the continuum where customers are looking for ways to save water.
Right.
And so this would actually operate in a dry mode most of the year, and then only use water in peak times to satisfy the cooling.
It's 110 out and very dry.
Right.
And it's a data center.
Yes, certain applications that are going to be more interested in water savings. We're seeing those.
So
those more.
adiabatic. This here, and I wish I would have seen that because I touched a few of them on it. Sorry.
They're all still in one
This,
piece.
this here is like a wetted media.
Correct.
Okay, so water is coming, and if you can look up online like adiabatic cooling, and the water kind of trickles down here. The air is pulled through here, and the air has a low dew point. It will drop the temperature substantially. Air rejects out here, but then the coil gets hit by the air that's got
it.
dry bulb depression because of the dew point.
Exactly. Yep. The pre-cooled air.
Pretty cool there.
So usually we would size these. A lot of times we'll see maybe up to about 80 degrees or so. They would run dry, and then above that they could use the adiabatic. So depending on where you're at, that could be 5% of the year, 10% of the year.
Right.
But definitely a lot less than a fully evaporative.
Sure. Excellent. Okay. So SPX Marley, easy to find online. Perfect website. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You too.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
We would have grabbed it.